This is a cover for issue 3 of Ignited, a crying white girl with a gun pointed at her head. And who does the gun belong to? A cop, of course. And of course, the girl and the other two Antifa wannabes are the victims. The girl even thinks, that's a gun, and it's pointed right at me, just like last time. We're gonna die. Now, here's the context of why the officers are pointing their guns. These Antifa wannabes attack their fellow classmates because some of those kids support guns rights and having teachers open carry. That's right, the heroes, these little terrorists, show up at a peaceful student protest and use their superpowers to violently attack their fellow classmates just months after these kids survived a school shooting. And the reason these little far-left dipshits do this is to fight back against having dangerous weapons in the hands of untrustworthy people. So they use their superpowers, their own dangerous weapons, to intimidate, silence, and assault children who nearly died in a school shooting. And we're supposed to feel sorry for the little terrorists because Popo has them at gunpoint. This is what far-left propaganda looks like. I already know that YouTube is going to demonetize this video, so even though I normally wouldn't ask this, if you would kindly drop $1 in my Patreon or Ko-Fi account, that'd be great. I'm not looking to make bank, I just want to make back the $8 I spent on this piece of shit, because I had to special order both these books because nobody had them in stock. I figured that with what happened over the weekend, this would be a great time to talk about this book because it's kind of the same identitarian shit that we see coming from the left right now. Blame Trump, blame white supremacists, and blame the guns. Just total lunacy. And the media is hyping it up, playing up this crazy white supremacist narrative, basically using the tragedy to make money because if any of you think CNN and MSNBC give a shit about what happened, you're wrong. Speaking of assholes exploiting tragedy, let's talk about Mark Waid and Kwanzaa Osei-Jeffo's fascist wet dream, Ignited. The only good thing about these books is the art. Phil Briones does a fantastic job drawing this propagandist bullshit. I'm not even going to do a proper review because honestly there's not much to review. A bunch of self-absorbed far-left queef sniffers survive a school shooting, get superpowers, and decide to use them to terrorize anyone who supports gun rights, including other students and teachers who survived the shooting. This includes poisoning the entire faculty and staff, threatening further attacks against them, assaulting peaceful student protesters with gay origami, stealing guns from a lawful firearm retailer, and planning to attack another pro-gun rights protest where some people intend to open carry. And through all this, it's narrated by a girl who sees nothing wrong with what's happening. Instead, she wishes she could be more like the poor man's ISIS that's terrorizing their school. I told one of my friends about how the story plays out, and he's like, dude, that sounds like the Turner Diaries. And I was like, holy shit, because he's right. For those who don't know, the Turner Diaries is this white supremacist novel where Eric Turner, the main character of the story, is part of a race war. It's told through his diary entries, and like Ignited, justifies hatred and violence against anyone who doesn't think exactly like the main character. If you think I'm exaggerating, in the opening pages of Ignited number 1, a clear Alex Jones knockoff prattles on about, quote, crisis actors, and then gets a call into his show, and we see that our so-called heroes have blown up his house, presumably with his family still inside. As much as I would love to say that this is all Fake Holiday or King Baby by themselves, this book is a good mix of both their lunacies. This is technically Kwanzaa's baby. He was brought on first, and then Waid came in to add legitimacy 15 years too late. You can definitely tell when Waid is writing versus Kwanzaa because it becomes coherent. But you can still tell Waid left in some of Kwanzaa's dialogue and setup. What Waid seemed to do is what I expected him to do, clean up the plotting and pacing. That doesn't fix the overall problem, which is that none of the characters are likable or sympathetic. The main girl, white bitch, is just a follower looking for an excuse to break the rules. And don't think you were clever, Fake Holiday, by having the main character be a white girl. That's still lazy and obvious, and we all know in the Netflix show she'll be a black lesbian with a shaved head. Then we get the wannabe edgy green-haired douche who's supposed to have an accent, but it's so inconsistent that no one can pin down where this asshat is supposed to be from. The only consistent things he says is ye instead of you, and feck instead of fuck, but none of the other vowels or words are changed. We already know that Kwanzaa only knows how to write in Wicca speak, So either he tried his hand at this and Wade didn't have the guts to tell him it's not working, or Wade had a serious day off. Must have been when he didn't get his way in court. Then we get this pinche puta who thinks that being a Spanish-speaking minor somehow gives her a pass for committing acts of terrorism. No es así. Así que irás a la cárcel, puta. And then we've got Shea Ferreira Hadane, a Jewish Ethiopian boy from a, quote, lower middle-class family who faces personal challenges unique to his heritage and upbringing. So he's a normal teenager pretending to be special to get attention. Got it. He turns into energy and can change his appearance to suit whatever bullshit the story requires. These are the characters we're supposed to care about. A boy who sexually assaults another boy because he was in white bitch's face. A girl who threatens ICE agents. And another girl who breaks into gun stores to steal weapons so that people can't protect themselves from nut jobs like these assholes. Is it any wonder that this book couldn't get past 9,000 orders? Or that nobody could find the fucking thing in stores? Or that nobody's talking about it at all? This book is pure naked propaganda. That would be bad enough, but then there's the random stupidity in the books. For example, there are all these panels with bullet holes still in the walls months after the shooting. Now, I'm sure that every school didn't fix every bullet hole or was able to clean up all the blood stains, but come on. You've got scene after scene where there are bullet holes next to the frickin' whiteboard. Even a lazy school counselor could tell you that that would trigger students. How long does it take to fix that? 20 minutes? Come on, do your job, fix it. Some guy announces an attack on the faculty and staff, and literally nothing happens to prevent this from happening. He tells you that he's going to commit another attack on a high-profile school shooting location, literally sends this to every student's phone, and neither the police or the feds do a damn thing. Speaking about that rogue signal, somehow all of the students are just fine with their teachers being targeted. The same teachers who may have protected them and saved their lives are just fine with them being targets of another terrorist attack. Then these mercenaries are deputized by the county sheriff, or whatever the fuck she is, and just show up uninvited at a school, armed to the teeth to protect the students, and still no one calls the feds or cops? Then we've got the letters at the beginning of each issue. For issues 2 and 3, it's a real-life mass shooting survivor who conveniently supports the far-left narrative being spun in the comic. The argument both women make is basically that we should ignore why people decide to commit these acts and focus on the victims. I totally agree that victims should receive not just medical but psychological care after these things happen, but you're not going to stop this from happening again by saying things like, quote, we analyze and dig for stories about mistreatment and abuse. We accept a narrative that isn't true, that they were outcast and unloved, because that lie is an easier pill to swallow than the truth. With respect, bullshit. Most of these people, regardless of their motivations, tend to be isolated and outcast, either because of the views they express or because of some underlying, usually mental health related issue. In the Parkland case, the students admitted they isolated the shooter because he was so unhinged. Guess what isolating unhinged people does? Drives them further into their own warped thoughts. The Santa Barbara shooter was totally unhinged, but he didn't go on a killing spree until his last friend ditched him. I read the dude's manifesto, which was shockingly well written. He was socially inept, probably on the spectrum, and a total spoiled brat. But having friends seemed to keep him from acting on his worst thoughts. The more friends he lost, usually by driving them away on his own, the worse he got. So no, running folks like this into the darkness and pretending they don't exist doesn't get rid of them, and neither does pretending that this shit happens because of a certain type of gun or video games. Yes, Trump and the conservatives trotted out the video game bullshit, and seriously, dude, you have no idea how many lives have been saved because people can just pop in GTA, find someone who looks like whoever pissed them off, and blowtorch their asses. Video games aren't the cause of violence, and guns don't kill people by themselves. They need a person to pull the trigger. If you want to solve this problem, then you need to start by looking at why people commit the acts and doing everything you can to intervene before they do it. That may mean being friends with an asshole. That may mean a pity fuck. That may mean tolerating people on Twitter talking about having sex with kids. You need the nut jobs out in the open so you know who they are and what they're about, and maybe you can figure out how to help them. You also need to stop with the partisan bullshit, which is what Mark Waid did in his initial letter at the beginning of the first issue. He waxes and wanes about the victims as if he cares about all of them, but let's be real. The conservatives, the moderates, the ones who are not far left progressives, He doesn't care that they got shot. He doesn't want to talk about their stories. They're not included in the 2 issues that I've read of Ignited. They're not mentioned at all in the promos for the other 2 issues that are coming out. And the 2 survivors who've been invited to talk are also far leftist. So no, I don't believe for a second, Mark Waid, that you care at all about all the survivors and want them all to have their voices heard. I think you only want to hear from the people who think like you, and the ones who are conservative, you'll probably regret didn't die in the attacks. Now, speaking of help, look at this nigga here. One of these things is not like the others. One of these things just doesn't belong. Oh, you didn't think I was gonna let this shit slide by me, did you, Kwanzaa? What the fuck is happening here? Look at his face. It's like a hostage photo. He's literally parked on the couch like a puppy. I mean, he's a little big for a purse. You might need a buggy for this dude. But that's not the one. This is the one. Seriously? How? What? Why? They're like, get in the picture. I don't want to get in the picture. Come on, get in here. No, I'm good. Come on, stop being a baby. Get in here. Come on. Come on. Lean in. Lean in. Now open your mouth. What? Come on, open your mouth. I think I'll pass. Now just do it. I'm good. Just a little. Come on. Come on. Like you're taking a bite. And look at him. He's like, And then like, open your mouth. It is open. Wider. Wider. Oh, come on. Act like it's that dude with the wig from last Thursday. Crazy white people shit. Check Medicare. What? Nothing. Seriously, Kwanzaa. Can I ask you a personal question? Why didn't you let them publish this picture? I get why you let them take it, but publish it? When they showed you the proof of the comic, you should have been like, burn this. Where's the original? I know it's digital. I know it's digital. I want it shredded. Every copy. All of them. 35 Gutman level passes. I want the full Hillary Clinton on this shit. Nah, you let this shit through. Has Jamal seen this? Don't show it to him. He's still got pages to draw. You can't have him laughing for a week. I mean, look at him. Look at him. He's holding his pants like, are they gonna fuck me? I feel like they're gonna fuck me. Well, at least now I see why you don't like white people. Used to be white people would just beat you and make you change your name to Toby. Now they're making you take pictures with your mouth open. Why would you let them publish this shit? I'll be laughing for this shit for hours. Just hours.